Roguelikes on the Switch hit different. There's something about picking it up on the couch or on the go and just losing hours to a run you swore would be your last. This list covers 10 of the best the genre has to offer on Switch, from card games to beat-em-ups to dungeon crawlers. Let's get into it. Vampire Survivors is one of those games that looks like nothing on the surface. Tiny pixel sprites, basic enemies, zero story. But the moment you boot it up, time just vanishes. You pick a character, drop into an arena, and survive waves of enemies that never stop coming. You don't aim, you don't shoot manually. Your weapons fire automatically, and your only job is to move. Every couple of minutes, you level up and pick from a handful of upgrades, weapons, or passive boosts. The real hook is chasing weapon evolutions, combining two maxed out items to unlock something completely busted and overpowered. Runs last about 30 minutes, and the longer you survive, the more ridiculous the screen gets. It's pure chaos, and it's completely addictive. There's no deep narrative here, just unlockables, characters, stages, and secrets that keep pulling you back. Blueprints is a puzzle roguelike built around one mansion and one mystery. You play as Simon, who inherits the Mount Holly estate from his eccentric great-uncle, but only if he can find a hidden 46th room somewhere inside. The catch is, the mansion resets every single day, and you have to rebuild a path through it by drafting rooms from randomized sets of 3. Each door you open lets you pick which room gets placed a library, a cellar, a greenhouse, and each one holds clues, keys, cash, and fragments of a story told through notes and photos scattered around. You carry no weapons, you fight nothing. It's all exploration, logic, and paying attention. The more you play, the more the mystery of the house deepens, well past finding that 46th room. It's one of the most original games of 2025, and an easy must-play on Switch 2. Absolum is what happens when you take a Streets of Rage style beat-em-up and pour roguelike structure all over it. You're in Talos, a fantasy world under the iron grip of the Sun King Azra, who's hunting down every magic user alive. You pick a hero, each one plays completely differently, and fight through handcrafted levels packed with enemies, bosses, and branching paths. Combat is fast and satisfying. Light attacks, heavy combos, timed dodges, and a clash system that rewards you for parrying at the right moment. After clearing areas, you pick runes that reshape how your abilities work. One might set enemies on fire when you dodge, another might chain lightning after a block. You die, you take your crystals, unlock permanent upgrades, and go again. The art is stunning, the co-op works great, and the story actually reveals more of itself across repeated runs depending on which character you play. Balatro is a poker-based roguelike deck builder, and it's one of the most dangerous games on this list in terms of just one more run. You're not playing poker against anyone. You're using poker hands to score points and hit a target score before your hands run out. Every run, you build a deck, find joker cards that warp the rules in wild ways, and discover combinations that snowball into ridiculous point multipliers. One joker might double your score on pairs. Another might trigger every time you play a heart. Stack enough of them right, and you're hitting numbers in the billions. The game has no story, no characters, no lore. It's pure systems layered on top of each other until your brain breaks trying to figure out the next synergy. It's deceptively simple to pick up and almost impossible to put down. The Switch version runs perfectly and is one of the best ways to play it. Cult of the Lamb mixes two things you wouldn't normally put together: roguelike dungeon crawling and cult management. And somehow, it works perfectly. You play as a lamb, saved from execution by a dark god named the One Who Waits. And in return, you build a cult in his name. The game splits between two modes: combat runs, where you clear procedurally generated dungeons, collect followers, and fight bosses to unlock new areas, and base management, where you build your settlement, feed your flock, perform rituals, and keep morale high. Followers get sick, go crazy, starve, and eventually die of old age. Combat is fast and snappy, with a randomized selection of weapons and curses each run. The two halves feed into each other. Stronger base means better runs. Better runs unlock more for the base. It's oddly cozy and darkly funny, and the art style makes everything look adorable, even when things get pretty dark. Hades puts you in control of Zagreus, son of the god of the underworld, who's trying to escape from hell, literally. Every run, you fight through chambers of procedurally generated enemies across 4 distinct regions, collecting boons from Olympian gods who each give you different powers. Poseidon might make your dash deal wave damage. Artemis might add crits to your bow. You pick your weapon before each run: a sword, a shield, a railgun, a spear, twin fists, and each one plays completely differently. When you die, you go back to the hub, talk to characters who actually remember what happened last run, and learn more about the story. And there's a real story here, one that unfolds slowly and rewarded you for every attempt. Combat is incredibly tight and responsive. Every run feels different because of how boons combine and stack, and the boss fights are some of the best in the genre. Inscryption is genuinely hard to describe without ruining it, so here's the surface level. It starts as a card game roguelike, where you're trapped in a cabin playing cards against the mysterious figure named Leshy. You build a deck, sacrifice creatures to summon stronger ones, and try to tip a scale in your favor to progress. But the game is not just a card game. Between rounds, you can move around the cabin, interact with objects, and discover things that shouldn't be there. The deeper you go, the more the game reveals about itself, and it goes places you will not see coming. Mechanically, the card system is clever and deep, with squirrels used as sacrifice fodder, teeth as currency, and constant risk-reward decisions about what to play and when. It's one of the most memorable game experiences in years. If you haven't touched this one, avoid spoilers, get in blind, and just let it unfold. Inscryption is genuinely hard to describe without ruining it, so here's the surface level. It starts as a card game roguelike, where you're trapped in a cabin playing cards against a mysterious figure named Leshy. You build a deck, sacrifice creatures to summon stronger ones, and try to tip a scale in your favor to progress. But the game is not just a card game. Between rounds, you can move around the cabin, interact with objects, and discover things that shouldn't be there. The deeper you go, the more the game reveals about itself, and it goes places you will not see coming. Mechanically, the card system is clever and deep, with squirrels used as sacrifice fodder, teeth as currency, and constant risk-reward decisions about what to play and when. It's one of the most memorable game experiences in years. If you haven't touched this one, avoid spoilers, get in blind, and just let it unfold. Dead Cells is a roguelike Metroidvania, a run-based action platformer where you fight through a sprawling, interconnected castle that's different every time. You start as a failed experiment, reanimating a body, and work your way up through biomes, each with their own enemies, traps, and shortcuts to unlock. Combat is fast and brutal. You pick 2 weapons and 2 skills at the start of a run, and build from there, finding gear that suits your playstyle. Every enemy can kill you if you're not paying attention, and bosses hit hard. When you die, you go back to the start, but you keep cells you collected to spend on permanent upgrades that make future runs slightly more manageable. The platforming feels incredibly clean. The variety of weapons is massive: swords, bows, shields, grenades, whips, and the game keeps adding content through updates. Hades 2 takes everything that worked in the first game and goes bigger, deeper, and darker. You play as Melino, Zagreus' sister, a witch trained in secret to fight her way through the underworld, but this time heading deeper underground instead of escaping upward. The combat adds new layers: a sprint, a cast system that places magical circles on the ground, and a wider variety of weapons, including a witch's staff and a moonstone axe. Boon synergies are more complex and more interesting than ever, and the gods helping you this time include figures from the Olympian roster, plus some new ones tied to the night and the moon. The story is completely separate from the first game, and carries real emotional weight across runs, with character relationships that evolve the more time you spend in the hub. It's still in development, but already feels like a full game. If you loved Hades, this surpasses it. If you've never played either, start here. Ten roguelikes that are genuinely worth your time on Switch. Drop a comment on which one's your favorite or which one you're trying first. And if you want more Switch recommendations, you know where to find them.